Hello, Pinvoyagers. My name is Julie, and I am here with Terry.
Hi, everyone.
And Nick.
Hello.
And today we are here to recap our favorite pins of 2023. So without further ado, let's head out on our voyage. So we just posted our recap of our podcast of our favorite pins of 2023. And so we have laid some of them out here to show you. So I hope you don't mind. I'm going to start first because these are probably my favorite pins that were released in 2023, and these were the Elemental pins. I think they're partly my favorite because I love this movie, but I also think that they're really fun quality, and I really like the screen printing on them. And this was probably one of the hardest pins for me to find, which was Lutz and this Disney Pins blog pin.
What's her name?
This is Lutz.
Lutz?
Yes, and it's a guy.
Oh.
We love you, Lutz. Okay. Anywho, so yeah, these are some of my favorite pins that Disney Studio Store Hollywood, also known as DSSH, released this year.
This is a D23 pin.
Oh yeah, sorry. I don't know what this is.
I love Elemental. I love the comeback story of Elemental, how it really became like the sleeper hit of the year. You know, when it first came out in the movie theaters, it got a warm to cold reception, and just word of mouth about how great it was caused that movie to become one of the highest grossing films of the year, in fact. So good for them.
Yeah, believe it or not, that movie, there's about 13 movies that had a $200 billion budget. And this was one of the movies. And out of those 13 movies, only one profited. And that was Guardians of the Galaxy 3 this year. But that release was put out after the turnaround of Elemental. So, and I'm talking blockbuster movies with that high budget.
How much?
$200 billion.
That's how much it cost them to
make that movie?
I'm pretty sure it's either 200. I'm pretty sure it's 200 billion. It can't be million.
We'll look that up and put the number in.
I'm pretty sure I've seen.
Let's look that up. That's a lot. I mean, $200 billion, Terry. That's so much.
I know what I could do with that money.
Is it billion or million? Billion.
Million. I mean, even a $200 million movie.
Oh, it's million.
200 million.
200 million. So I have to say it again.
Okay, we'll do it again.
Okay, we'll go back.
Okay. But it is million. Only one
million.
1 million. And this came out November 30th. So they spent $200 million on this movie, and now is where they're starting to see numbers come up for it.
Wow. I can't believe how much money it costs to make movies. Okay, that was one of Julie's favorites. I'm going to talk about one of my favorites. This was limited edition pins that came out in the parks. These are Marvel first editions. This particular one is Marvel first appearances. First appearance of the Kingpin. I don't know that Kingpin himself is a character that I care about, but this exact cover of Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, is one of my most favorite comic book covers ever. So when I saw it in pin form, I knew I had to have it. There were a few other first appearances that I had to get. So this was a cool series. Good job, Disney, on this.
Okay, so one of my favorite sets or releases that came out this year came from DEC, Disney Employee Center, which was for the Frozen anniversary. Can you believe that came out like 10 years ago? 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Oh gosh. I remember where I was 10 years ago. That's what happened. Anyways, was this Frozen series with all the different outfits that they had for the queens. They were both queens at one point. So yes, with the sisters and the detail, the size, everything about them. And for me, I wasn't a big fan of a lot of the pins that came out this year, but this is definitely my number one. Sorry.
All right, Julie, your turn.
Well, now I'm nervous about which one to talk about.
I think this one.
Okay. All right. So one of the other pins that we had mentioned in our podcast is the Reflection series from Mickey's of Glendale, also known as MOG, or also WDI for Walt Disney Imagineering. So this is a cast exclusive pin, and this basically shows her looking down and seeing her reflection. And the cool thing about this pin is it can be reversible, so depending on how you want it to be
Displayed.
yeah. So I really like these series. I think I like them more for trade because I think other people love them, but we are keeping a few of them for our collection.
I do love that series as well. I didn't point it out because it came out the year prior, but
Not that particular one.
not that particular one.
So there's two
That
series.
design.
That
Yeah.
design, yes. All right, I'm going to stick to in-park pins. So another in-park pin that I really liked was a mystery box of Wall-E. This was celebrating Wall-E's 15-year anniversary, and it was a puzzle piece. So you had to collect the different pieces to form this boot, and it's all these really pretty sculpted bronze-colored pins, and this is a lot of fun. Julie and I are still one pin away from completing it, so we're hoping to get that pin sometime in the next year.
Is it only the boot or are there
Yep, just the
leaf
boot.
too?
Nope, the leaf is not part of it.
The leaf is DIY? You gotta
Yes.
make it yourself?
And you better believe we'll make a board that has that leaf.
Yeah, in fact, I saw someone else's framing of this set, which is then what led me to say, I need that.
So that was your inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. I'm just gonna hop on and say, back to Mickey's of Glendale, WDI. I am a big Adorbs collector, and my favorite Adorbs set that came out was The Nightmare Before Christmas. They're so cute. These were actually really fun to trade with a lot of fans of the series. There was so many variety of people that I actually met, whether it was in person or online, to help trade for these. So that was it was really fun experience because I feel like when it came to the online trading community, it was very big during the pandemic, where you were just mailing things in and out and trusting that they would send these things to you. And I feel like it's kind of died down a little bit because now we're going in person again, or people are flying coast to coast to make these trades. And I felt like this one was I gotta have it and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get it. And I thought that was really neat.
I'm going to piggyback off that a little bit. These Adorbs are also one of my favorites. And pin of the year for me, I know this probably sounds silly, but for me, pin of the year is this Oogie. I
Wow.
love him so much. He's got this, he's sandblasted and he glows in the dark. And I love him. I can't wait to be able to display him everywhere.
Just him.
Just him and all of the others.
Okay, is it my turn?
Yeah.
I'm going to go for this pin. I think it is a limited release from the new Wish movie. I thought this was super cute. They did not release that many pins from this movie yet. But I think it's super cute, and you have Valentino and then the little star, and I think it's super cute, and I think it's really good quality too.
I love that backer card. For a pin, a rack pin, it's so beautiful.
I'm going to go to another Mickey's of Glendale. Man, we keep going back to MOG. These pins came out at the Destination D23 pin event, fan event, and like a mini expo here in Orlando. And these were the Disney 100 year celebration pins. This is Hero, and I love him. I love these pins. I think this feels like it weighs 15 pounds. That's how big and heavy these pins feel. And I don't know about you, but when I feel these heavy pins, to me it's like, oh, that's quality.
I'm surprised at how big that pin is, the weight of the pin, the quality of the enamel on it, the sandblasting, the raised metal. They did anything that they can do to this. I think they nailed it. I know not everybody was a fan, but I was a fan of this, or at least specific characters from this set.
Okay, it's my turn again. All right. I'm going to head to Disney Employee Center. These are the Window series, and you have Briar Rose. This was released at Destination D23, and they had several princesses of, and I think that they're beautiful. If I only had one critique, I wish they were a little bit bigger. This is probably the biggest one out of this series. But I love them, and I think I already have like, 3, 4 of them, I think.
Yeah.
And yes, big fan of these pins. And I love the woodland characters. Nick always rolls his eyes because I'm always like, look, it's the woodland character.
Well, we'll be at pin events, and we'll be like trying to find cool pins, and not that these aren't cool pins, but all of a sudden Julie is trying to trade for these little tiny pins of this generic squirrel, and that trader values them at like $400, and I'm just like, oh, for this little pin.
Guess not.
No, I have several characters, but I think Nick is like, oh my God, please.
Yeah, just don't trade the house away for a little tiny pin. Okay. PTDs.
I love these.
And Luca. Luca is a favorite film of this group, so when these PTDs came out, we had to make sure that we got them. The 4 characters from Luca came out. We only have 2. We really only want Julia. We don't want the bad guy. I don't know his name.
Say it, Terry.
What's his name?
Ercole?
Ercole. Ercole. Ercole.
PTDs.
No, so I want to point out, they have always been PTD haters. So the fact that you guys actually have a PTD pin in your possession is very impressive. That's how much they really love this movie, but also had to have these pins. And also, they're Italian. They're having gelato, so it's a totally different thing.
What changed your mind about PTDs?
The pin from Frankenweenie. I forget the cat's Mr.
Mistopheles?
No. What? No.
That weird looking cat?
Yes. So it's not Mr. Mittens. That's from Soul.
Yeah.
It's...
We gotta look it up for a minute.
I swear to God, last time we did a video about this pin,
And I was right. I had the name
and we
right.
said it like 15 times, and I had to like keep putting it up there. It doesn't matter. Whatever its name is.
It's really
Mr. Whiskers.
Mr. Whiskers. It was so
Sorry.
close.
Mr. Whiskers. Okay, there's a Mr. Whiskers.
It's the coolest PTD.
And I'll show it to you, Terry. I'll put up a close-up so that
We're gonna
everyone
need
can
to
see
because
it.
we all came to a pause.
Yeah. But that was the first PTD that I ever owned. And then, honestly, after that, I think the only other ones that we own are these 2. Or at least that's the only ones that are sticking out in my head. I can't think of another
I've known
one.
you guys and this entire collection of pins and this podcast and this YouTube channel and the Instagram. You guys have never had a PTD pin, so this is amazing.
And it looks natural because they're doing it in the movie.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Il gelato.
That's probably why you don't mind it so much.
Yeah. But the Mr. Whiskers one is like a scary cone that's like melting, and the cat's like, "Ah."
It almost looks like poison apple.
That's funny.
It's neat. Okay. WDI also released a new popular series. These are called Off the Pages. Kind of an animator sketch, then with the full color version, pin on pin. Really beautiful. I do have a very small collection of Lumiere, and I had to have this one. And we didn't get a lot of these, and I'm regretting that now. But I would really like to get the Peter Pan one.
I like the Pocahontas one.
We traded
We
it.
traded it.
It's okay.
I'm not the biggest fan of these pins, but like I wish we would have gotten the ones like Ariel and like I already forgot the
Peter
other
Pan.
one.
I
All
like
of the ones I would have
Zootopia. She
traded.
has a Zootopia collection, but Julie is very particular about what pins she likes and what she does not like. She didn't like that one.
It's
So
not
we get it.
about. Sometimes it's not about being completist. Sometimes
no.
less
Yes.
is more, and quality matters.
I encourage you not to be a completist.
Yeah.
Unless it's Julie with the movie Wish.
I don't know if we're going to be completists on that. No, we're not.
I feel like you were this close already.
And let's talk about this one. This series was a lot of fun. We had talked about, there's a minor scandal with this series. We talked about it on our podcast, so you can check us out. We also have a podcast. You can find it on all major podcasting platforms. Pinvoyagers. So this series was previewed at the East Coast Pin Event. That's what I'm going to call it now because it used to be called the Epcot Pin Event, but they don't do it at Epcot anymore. So the East Coast Pin Event here in Florida. And at the preview, they included this pin and a bunch of others, and also one of Remy and Linguini cooking. And then...
Because it makes sense,
yeah,
right?
it was probably the best pin of the whole series. But then when they released them, they released it a month late, a month after when they said they were going to, and those two characters were absent. I got a really good number at that drop, and you could actually see it. It was like you could click it to put it in your basket, but it was in red, and the quantity was 0. They were not available. So that's not a pin
so
that was
bizarre.
real. I wish they would go back and make it and release it. Now, Julie and I really wanted this pin for a specific reason. Back in the day, which actually is returning now, when we used to be able to trade with cast members in the parks, some cast members would wear a lanyard and turn the pins around backwards so you couldn't see what pin you were trying to trade for. And they will do trivia. If you answer the trivia question right, they'll show you the pin and you can decide if you want to trade or not. Mm-hmm. So this one cast member had this really fun trivia question. And she said, what is the name of the chef that works with Tony in Lady and the Tramp? And we thought about it, and we're like, and Julie and I get really excited when we play games, and I'm scared to even imitate it because we get loud in this poor microphone. So we're thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, it's got to be Luigi. Luigi's the answer. And she's like, no, everybody says that. Nope, it's not Luigi. And Julie's sitting there thinking, she's like, the person that works... Tony! She literally screams at the top of her lungs. But the question is, who works with Tony? Not Tony. The answer is Joe.
Joe.
So anytime we see either Joe or Tony, we have to silently scream, Tony!
I feel like I would not have A, known that answer, but B, you guys are never going to forget that.
Never going to forget it.
And now we have
You
this
know
pin.
what's really bizarre? My dad, his name is Tony, and his brother is Joe.
Oh.
That's wild.
Actually, I still forget it most of the time. I'm pretty impressed that I came up with the name Joe just right now. I probably would have called him Luigi.
Yeah, my dad's Antonio, and my dad's brother was Joseph. So
Wow.
Tony and Joe.
I wish we would have got the octopus from that.
Oh, me too. I didn't get the octopus, and it was a really cool pin.
Yeah.
Well, you can always trade. So those were the favorite official pins of all of us for the year. I did want to include at least one fantasy pin. There were some cool fantasy pins that came out this year, a lot of great ones. But unfortunately, the big trend in fantasy is that we're seeing a lot of shop owners forced to close their shops. But I did want to give a shout out to Nicole over at Penny Planet. She created one of the absolute most stunning pins, not only of the year, but of the entire history of pins. This Luca pin, and it's gigantic, it's gorgeous, it is such a unique, amazing design, and I mean, no one does it like Penny. So good job to this pin, and I'm so happy and ecstatic to have it in our collection.
Good job, Nicole.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you get to put everything into it, and I'm not just talking about putting your heart and soul, the budgeting. I'm talking about you're playing with every single effect that you can. With the sandblasting, the screen printing, Now she's stepping out of the box. It's not your standard circle, square, rectangle shape. We've got like wave going on, and we've got a little dangle. Like, I love dangles. I love hinge pins. I love getting creative. Like, I love creativity. This is definitely it. And it's also got, what is this called? Hold to the light. Stained glass.
You think that's stained glass?
Yeah. Look at it. Is it stained glass? Is it
No,
not?
it's sandblast.
Oh, okay. No.
Yeah.
This is sandblast. Actually,
You can see the fish there.
this is actually raised enamel with the clear light blue. So, sorry, not stained glass.
Translucent.
Translucent.
But
Sorry,
not
not
stained
not
glass.
stained glass. Translucent. Ah, she's just so creative.
Yeah, so great.
So I think that was overall our,
Year in review.
yeah, out of all the pins that they released, these were some of our favorite pins. And we are definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next year at D23 and see if any more profiles are released. And for Terry, any more adorbs. So we are all super excited for that. So until next time,
I'll see you on our next voyage.